Library in Wisconsin Rapids, and we are back for another edition of Let's Make Lunch. And today we are making cheesy meatball bombs. What? Yes, that's what I said. Cheesy meatball bombs. These are great for a snack, or you can actually kind of put them together with like a salad or some veggies or something like that and have a whole meal. That's my plan. So basically what a cheesy meatball bomb is a meatball that is stuffed with mozzarella cheese and baked, and then you take that out of the oven, let it cool, then you roll it in marinara sauce, and then you wrap it in dough, and then you put it back in the oven and let it bake, and then you put some lovely garlic butter over the top, and voila, we have a wonderful cheesy meatball bombs. So let's get started with our ingredients. For our meatball bombs, we need a ½ pound of ground beef, turkey, or chicken. I'm using beef today. We need 1 egg yolk, which is separated from the white. We need a tablespoon of marinara sauce. You can do jarred marinara or make your own. I made my own tonight. We have 1 minced garlic clove, a couple of tablespoons of freshly grated Parmesan cheese, 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. We have a tablespoon of Italian seasoning and a 1/4 cup of grated onion. We have 1 recipe of pizza dough. So what I did yesterday is I made pizza for my house. So usually what I do is I freeze half of it and I use half of it. So instead of freezing half, I just kept it out for this recipe. I've got 2 tablespoons of butter. I've got more marinara sauce. Not sure exactly how much, probably about a cup. I've got another tablespoon of grated parm. I've got the rest of the egg, so the egg white from my yolk. I've got some garlic granules, salt, pepper, and the all-important mozzarella cheese. So this is 6 ounces of mozzarella cheese. I'm using the fresh mozzarella. You can use whatever mozzarella you'd like, but you want to cut it into about half ounce cubes. So this was 6 ounces. I need 12 cubes, so they're about ½ ounce each. All right, so that is all we've got here for our recipe. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually make our meatballs. And meatballs are pretty easy and convenient because basically you just mix everything together. So we're going to start just popping everything in here. We got our egg yolk. It broke on me a little bit. We've got our marinara sauce. Get that in there. We've got our breadcrumbs. Garlic. If you want to use garlic powder here, that's fine too. Not a problem. Parmesan cheese. Our grated onion. I need a little help getting out of there. And our Italian seasoning. Also going to put a pinch of salt and a few grinds of pepper in there. All right, so we're just going to mix all of this together. I'm going to start using my spoon, and then as I need to, I'll probably get in there with my hands. So yeah, we just want to make sure you get it all mixed together evenly so that the breadcrumbs and everything have a chance to work their way through all of the ground beef or turkey or chicken, whatever you're using. All right, I think I'm gonna have to get my hands in there. The spoon will only take you so far with this. All right, so we're just gonna get our hands in there and really get everything mixed together correctly. If you want to know some history about the meatball, We did go over that in the spaghetti and meatball episode. So if you missed that, you can always go back on our YouTube channel and watch that at any time, or any of our other Let's Make Lunch videos. They're all there for you to watch whenever you'd like. All right, that looks pretty well combined. So our next step is we're going to want to divide this into 12. So I'm going to divide it in half. And I'm going to divide it in half again. And then we're going to divide each half of half, each quarter, into 3. So roughly, I'm not going to measure it out, but basically that's what you get. We're going to put it in our hand, and we're going to have to squish it out pretty flat to be able to get that big chunk of cheese in there. That is quite a big chunk of cheese. Let's see if we can get it in there. We may have to cut our cheese a little bit. Let's see if we can do it. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? So we're going to put our cheese right into the middle of our meatball patty. And we're just going to fold that over. You want to make sure that the cheese is completely covered by the meatball. Oh, got a little hole there. That's okay. We can just squish the meat over top of it. So we don't have any cheese peeking out there. So we're going to continue and do this. Oops, we're almost got some cheese kind of trying to escape there. All right. So we're going to just put these on a parchment lined sheet pan. And once I get all of these done, we are going to put them in the oven. So I'm going to finish rolling these out and getting the cheese inside. Well, our meatballs are stuffed with the cheese at this point, and they are ready to go in the oven. Because I was using my hands to shape the meatballs, and it's raw meat, I have made sure that I washed my hands really, really well before I touched anything else. So these are going to go into a 375-degree oven for about 20 minutes. You want to make sure that the meat is thoroughly cooked. So you want to make sure that there's no like redness in the meat or anything. So if after 20 minutes you still have some pink spots in your meat, you want to make sure you cook that until the meat is completely browned. So if it takes a little bit more than 20 minutes, it might. So we're going to check on it at 20 minutes and have a look at it. So in we go. Our meatballs are out of the oven. They've cooked for 20 minutes exactly, and they are browned and cooked through, so we don't need to cook them any longer. The cheese has oozed out a little bit. I'm not sure if that's because I used fresh mozzarella. You may have more success. I really tried hard to get them sealed, but there were, I'm sure, little spots, which is fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to let these cool completely, like to room temperature basically, because we're going to wrap them in dough next, and we don't want the dough to get too warm when we're wrapping them because the dough will be too soft. So we're just going to let these cool now, and we'll be back to wrap them shortly. Our meatballs are cooled, and so they're ready to wrap in our dough. I took my pizza dough and I divided it into 12 equal-ish portions, and I've just been rolling them out lightly on a lightly floured surface with my rolling pin. I'm going to finish this last one. If you don't want to make your own pizza dough or bread dough or whatever, you can actually just use, there are some frozen rolls that you can use, and then you don't even have to divide your dough. It just comes already divided for you. It's usually in the freezer section, so I think if you just took that out of the freezer and let that thaw, you would have perfectly shaped already, well, it's not shaped, but already divided dough, so that would make it a little bit easier for you. So what we're going to do, we want these to be fairly large to fit the entire meatball in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a meatball. I'm just going to stab it here with my fork a little bit. And we're going to put it in marinara sauce first. Just lightly coat it with marinara sauce. So we're going to get the excess off of there. Put it in the center of our dough. And then we're just going to pull it up, making sure to cover our whole meatball with it. We may need just a little bit of water on our finger to help the dough stick to itself. My dough has quite a bit of flour in it. You may not need that, but I found that it's been helping me to make sure my dough is closing all the way. Almost like a little dumpling, really. There we are. So we've got our meatball all enclosed in our dough. We're gonna put the seam side, which is where I've kind of mushed it all down. We're gonna put the seam side down onto our baking pan, and we're going to continue putting the rest of the meatballs into our dough and the marinara sauce. I have all of the meatballs covered with dough at this point. This one's a little sloppy. That happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the egg white that we had separated from the yolk earlier. And I'm just going to brush that over the tops of each of these meat dough balls. I don't know what to call them. Meatball bombs. So we're just going to lightly coat each one with a little bit of this egg mixed, or of this egg white. It does in the recipe call for a whole egg, but I don't really see the necessity of that. You don't need that much egg, and generally you end up throwing most of it away. So I'm just going to use the rest of the egg I started with earlier. So this just helps it kind of give it a shine and brown it up nicely. So it wouldn't be the end of the world if you skipped this step. Truthfully, I've skipped egg wash in the past, and it has not made that much difference. So it's a nice step, but like I said, it's not the end of the world if you don't do it. Sometimes I don't do it on purpose because I just don't feel like I need to, and sometimes I completely forget. That happens. All right, we are almost there. So what we're going to do next is we're going to put these back into our same 375-degree oven, and those are going to bake for about 12 to 15 minutes. What should happen with these is they should puff up a little bit, and they should get nicely browned, and then they will be almost finished. So we're going to put these back in the oven, 375, for about 12 to 15 minutes. I have got my meatball bombs out of the oven. They are crunchy. They're definitely done. If you tap them, they should sound a little bit hollow. So the bread is cooked. The dough part is cooked. So what we're going to do now is we've got some melted butter mixed with some garlic powder. And I'm just going to brush that over the tops of each of our meatball bombs, just for a little extra flavor. You could skip this part if you're not a garlic fan, or if you just want butter without the garlic, that would work as well. It's totally up to you. Make it what you want. So we are just going to make sure all of these have a lovely garlicky, buttery coating, because I really think that is delicious. And so does cameraman. He says, yep. So we're just going to get those all coated. Basically, we're going to coat these. We're going to sprinkle some Parmesan over the tops of them. And that will be done. So, almost done. One more to get butter on here. All right, so our butter is all on our cheesy meatball bombs. I've got a little bit of Parmesan cheese. We're just going to sprinkle over the tops. Should stick a little bit to the butter. And that is it. You can serve these up nice and warm right out of the oven. And you can serve it with extra marinara sauce if you'd like to do that. And enjoy. I think these will be delicious. Can't wait to get in there and get that nice gooey cheese in the middle. So I hope you enjoy your cheesy meatball bombs for lunch or snack or whatever you have them for. And we will see you next time on Let's Make Lunch. Bye.